Republicans anxious to run against Hillary Clinton, the expected Democratic nominee in the 2016 presidential race, are courting conservatives tonight just outside Washington. It's the annual conservative get-together known as CPAC. Chief Political Correspondent Carl Cameron is there and reports from National Harbor, Maryland.
CPAC is always a conservative proving ground for GOP presidential candidates, and this year they face direct questions from conservative pundits. Laura Ingraham asked Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey how he can beat former Florida Governor Jeb Bush with his famous family and huge donor base.
If the elites in Washington who make backroom deals decide who the president's going to be, then he's definitely the front runner. If the people of the United States decide to pick the next president of the United States and they want someone who looks at them in the eye, connects with them, and is one of them, I'll do okay if I run.
Neurosurgeon Ben Carson kicked off the conference with a denunciation of the left as, quote, purveyors of division, and said the country needs a new direction. But CPACers demand loyalty to principle and want their 2016 candidates to oppose Common Core education standards and immigration reform that grants citizenship to undocumented immigrants. Baier brand freshman Texas Senator Ted Cruz takes a backseat to no one in the GOP.
If a candidate says they oppose President Obama's illegal and unconstitutional executive amnesty, terrific. If a candidate says they oppose Common Core, fantastic. When have you stood up and fought against it?
Carly Fiorina, the only Republican woman eyeing a presidential run, blasted Hillary Clinton, using the former Secretary of State's own tweets to illustrate the latest Clinton ethical controversy and hypocrisy.
Explain why we should accept that the millions and millions of dollars that have flowed into the Clinton Foundation from foreign governments do not represent a conflict of interest. She tweets about women's rights in this country and takes money from governments that deny women the most basic human rights.
Surging in the early polls, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker drew the biggest crowd of the day.
As of next week, Wisconsin will become the 25th state in America that allows workers the freedom to choose whether they want to work for a company and be in a union or not.
When protesters began to shout, Walker rallied the crowd to drown them out.
Those voices can't drown out the voices of the millions of Americans who want us to stand up for the hardworking taxpayers. As long as I'm a leader, I'll continue to do that going forward.
Governor Walker and virtually all the Republican candidates spent a considerable amount of time criticizing the president's what they consider to be reluctance to aggressively go after radical Islamic terrorism. And in the case of Governor Walker, he actually said that because he had faced 100,000 demonstrators, referring to the political battles in Wisconsin, he'd be ready to take the appropriate courage around the country. That raised some eyebrows and could cause Mr. Walker some blowback. Jeb Bush speaks tomorrow, and he faces some big challenges here as well, Bret. There are some of the CPACers who think that he's insufficiently conservative and are threatening to walk out. And Bush's aides are here feverishly working to avert that tomorrow. Bret.
Carl Cameron live at CPAC. Carl, thanks.